TV.
Thanks for taking these questions. I wanted to follow up with a question about Iran, following the killing of Mr. Akbari. I mean, you've both said here today, and Foreign Secretary, you said in the House of Commons, that you will hold Iran to account. Can you be specific about what you mean, given that these sanctions you refer to have been in place for some time? And I wonder more broadly where this leaves our Iran policy. Do we regard leaders in Tehran as legitimate interlocutors in terms of the nuclear talks? Are they dead in the water, or are they on life support, or can they be potentially kept going even following the killing of Mr. Akbari, even following Iran's provision of so much weaponry to Russia?
The execution of Mr. Akbari was a politically motivated act, and we acted swiftly to sanction people involved with it, including the prosecutor general. We have already sanctioned members of the so-called morality police and of the members of the Iranian judiciary who have been involved with the crackdown of the legitimate protests of the Iranian people. I would make the point that there have been around 500 fatalities because of the crackdown from the Iranian regime against their own people. 18,000 people arrested by the Iranian regime. And the point that I would make is the leadership of Iran is a decision for the Iranian people. But I would just make the simple observation that the Iranian people are telling their government that they are not at all happy with the situation that they are living under and the limitations and privations. And it is in the hands of the Iranian government to make those changes. They call for us, for the US, for us and our friends to lift sanctions. And the point that we have made is that if they want to see those sanctions removed, they have to fundamentally change their behavior. Sadly, we're not seeing any indication that they are ready to do so, and unfortunately that is as true with our efforts to prevent them acquiring a nuclear weapon as it is in the crackdown on the protesters and the persecution of their own people. It is in the gift of the Iranian leadership to bring about change. We will continue to act in response to their behaviours, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm not going to speculate about what further measures we might take, but I said at the dispatch box just before flying to the US that we do not limit ourselves to the response that I have already announced. But we will continue to speak to Iran where we're able to, and we hope that at some point soon they will listen properly to what we're saying, because I don't believe that a country with a multi-thousand-year history of sophistication and art really wants to have the international reputation of ugliness and brutality that Iran currently has. They are betraying their heritage, they are they are oppressing their own people, and the simple message that I put across is that they should change, not for our benefit, not because of what we say or do, but because their own people are demanding that they do so.
And really, I can only strongly echo what the Foreign Secretary said. We were appalled by the execution of Mr. Akbari, just as we've been appalled by everything we've been seeing on the streets of Iran over the last months since these protests began. Mass arrests, sham trials, the executions, the use of sexual violence as a tool for protest suppression. We, the United Kingdom, but not just us, countries around the world are watching this, seeing this, and share the revulsion that we have. And these abuses will not go without consequence. Together with many other countries, we've been moving forward with a variety of unilateral actions, multilateral measures, using UN mechanisms to try to hold Iran to account. and that's played out in a number of different places in a number of different ways, and it will continue as long as necessary. With regard to the JCPOA, the Iranians killed the opportunity to come back to that agreement swiftly many months ago. There was an opportunity on the table that they rejected, an opportunity that was approved by all who were involved, the Europeans, the United States, Russia and China even at the time. And so the JCPOA has not been on the agenda as a practical matter for many months now. It's not our focus. We're focused on what's happening in Iran. We're focused on what Iran is doing in terms of the provision of weapons to Russia to use against innocent people and the entire energy grid in Ukraine. And of course, we're focused on its other destabilizing activities throughout the region. What is also very much in our focus is the President's commitment, President Biden's commitment, that Iran never acquire a nuclear weapon. Now, we continue to believe that the most effective way to do that is through diplomacy, and we saw the results and success of diplomacy when it comes to the original JCPOA, which put Iran's nuclear program in a box. And it was a terrible mistake to have torn up that agreement and walked away from it. And now we're dealing with the results. The results include, as the Foreign Secretary said, Iran making very significant progress on its nuclear program, and that represents an additional challenge to the other things that Iran is engaged in. But as I said, the JCPOA right now is not on the table. Last thing I'll say is that when it comes to diplomacy in general, you tend to spend a chunk of your diplomacy engaging with countries with whom you have profound disagreements or worse, including outright adversaries. That's the nature of what we do. And the one thing that's clear is that engaging in diplomacy, including with those who are engaged in outrageous actions, is sometimes necessary to try to advance our interests, and it never takes the word no from our vocabulary.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone. That concludes the press conference.